Team Skills for Process Improvement, Unit 3 of 8, Team Roles and Relationships, Part 1 of 6. Upon completion of this unit, you will be able to 1. Identify the types of TQM teams. You will learn the definitions of ESCs, QMCs, and PATs, what the functions of these teams are, and who in the organization typically makes up their membership. 2. Define team roles. We will identify and describe the responsibilities of the team leader, quality advisor, recorder, and other team members. 3. Describe an effective charter. We will list and discuss the characteristics of an effective charter. 4. Evaluate a charter. Through an exercise in charter evaluation, validation, and revision, you will learn how to assess a charter's usefulness and provide guidance to teams for creating effective charters. 5. Conduct group process observation. Watching and collecting data on how team members interact is the first step toward improving how teams work together. We will introduce the concept of group process observation, and you will have an opportunity to observe, take notes, and reflect on how different it is from participating in the group's work. 6. Create a storyboard. We will describe what storyboards are and how they are used by process improvement teams. You will see some examples and begin to create one of your own as a part of a case study. Identify the right individuals to work on teams, providing clear direction and providing adequate leadership and support becomes critical to the success of the team and ultimately the organization. Types of TQM teams. Company X approach to implementing TQM advocates a specific quality improvement team structure. This structured approach consists of the following teams. 1. Executive Steering Committee or System Owners. They are the team of guiding members of an organization who comprise the highest level quality improvement team in the organization. 2. Quality Management Committee or Process Owners. They are a cross-functional team composed of managers, usually of the same organizational level, who are jointly responsible for a process, system, product, or service. 3. Process Action Team or Process Workers. They are a team chartered by the ESC or QMC, composed of individuals from within a single function who work together on a stage of a process. They are called functional teams. Executive Steering Committee. 1. It is composed of senior leaders or system owners. In Company X, the top-level quality improvement team is the ESC. It is composed of the most senior managers and key leaders, like vice presidents, executive directors, department heads, and branch managers. These are the leaders who are responsible for improving mission effectiveness, which is the focus of TQM. There is only one ESC in any organization or in any company, and the CEO is the team leader. 2. ESC leads process management efforts. This includes identifying and prioritizing major external customers and their requirements, and significant processes of the organization. Developing a customer feedback system and identifying and defining quality characteristics that customers require. For operational units, identifying mission effectiveness or criteria might be the starting point for process management. 3. Participates in process improvement activities. Top leaders in Company X are expected to be actively involved in early process activities. In a few minutes, we will discuss some guidelines for selecting initial process improvement efforts, usually called pilot projects. It is also important for the ESC to continue to stay up to date on who the major customers are, what their needs are, and what the branches or the company's significant processes are. 4. Charters teams for process improvement. Once the senior leaders have identified significant processes and are ready to begin process improvement efforts, the ESC should charter subordinate teams, Quality Management Committee or QMC, to actually work on the processes they have identified. We will learn more about charters and QMCs later on this unit. 5. Identifies and provides resources. In order to be effective, lower level teams such as QMCs need time, training, and support for their decisions. Personnel to fulfill other roles such as the TQM coordinator and quality advisor must be selected and trained. It is up to the ESC to provide these resources. 6. Leads the transformation. As we learned in Unit 1, top leaders in Company X are responsible for managing the cultural change that we call transformation. This includes identifying and removing barriers to the new philosophy, as well as role modeling and reinforcing new behaviors that create a quality-focused environment. 7. Begins strategic management. Once the ESC has a good understanding of how to improve mission effectiveness through process improvement activities and application of Deming 14 points, they can begin to think about how to bring a strategic focus to their management of the organization. As we discussed before, this may mean developing and deploying a strategic plan. Process selection. Before we go on to discuss QMCs, let's take a minute to talk about some guidelines for process selection, since this is one of the ESC's most important tasks. 1. Identify significant processes. The first step is selecting processes for improvement, is to identify the organization's significant processes. Significant processes are those which begin with an external customer requirement that can be traced back through the process of an organization to the input. Therefore, they are cross-functional by definition. These are the processes that are so important that you can't accomplish your mission without them. If improved, they will affect customer outcomes. It is the job of ESC to identify and prioritize these processes for improvement. Senior managers learn the basic steps for doing in other seminars. 2. Select processes related to mission accomplishment. One of the most common mistakes teams make when they initiate their process improvement efforts is to start with processes that are only indirectly related to the mission. For example, they may choose an administrative function like preparing the watch bill. You may want to look at support processes eventually, but they aren't the highest priority. The most important processes are those that keep you in operation, that affect mission accomplishment. 3. Select processes that are customer focused. The ESC should be concerned first with those processes that affect the external customer. Once the significant processes have been identified and improved, you can spend resources on improving processes that affect internal customers. In summary, the ESC should select for improvement those processes which directly affect the mission and the external customer. 4. Use a systems view to select processes. Sometimes the workforce is solicited for suggestions regarding processes they perform as a means to identify opportunities for process improvement. Of course, no one understands process problems better than the person performing or working on or with working on on with the process. But workers in the process usually don't have a systems view of the organization. So it is important to remember that the senior leaders provide strategic direction for all process improvement teams. Only in this way can you be sure that your efforts will optimize the organization as a system. Many, many corporations used strategic plans to help them identify their significant processes. They often are centered around the strategic goals. This is not always necessary, though the ESC, this is not always necessary, though. The ESC simply needs to identify its mission and processes. They determine which of their processes have the most direct, measurable effect on the quality characteristics that customers want most. There are tools which can help make that determination.